we need to talk about a beautiful trap that so many of us fall into. We have been conditioned to believe that if we are patient enough, hardworking enough, gentle enough, and polite enough, the world will eventually give us permission to step into our own power. But here is the truth we rarely say out loud: the world doesn't hand out permission. And waiting for it is actually how we shrink our own lives. Now, before you think this is confidence, let me tell you, I don't think it is. I think it is about conditioning. This isn't happening because you are weak. This is happening because you are conscientious. Most of us grew up learning that approval means we are doing something right. We studied for grades. We waited for teachers to tell us that we are good enough. We built our projects quietly in the background, hoping that eventually somebody will notice. And somewhere along the way, we started treating our own life like a classroom, as if we needed to raise our hand before we are allowed to speak. But life is not a classroom, it is a laboratory. And you're not here to submit a perfect assignment, you are here to experiment, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to become. I caught myself doing this just this week. I am balancing an MBA, building something that genuinely matters to me, showing up on internet with ideas that feels deeply personal, and whenever something small didn't go my way, my first instinct wasn't curiosity, it was self-doubt. Did I do something wrong? Do I even have the right to be here? Is it the right place for me? And then it hit me. Waiting until I felt completely aligned or completely validated wasn't wisdom. It was fear wearing very sophisticated clothes. I had I had convinced myself that I was preparing, but in reality I was hiding from the vulnerability of being seen while still figuring things out. Psychologists have a phrase called external locus of control. It simply means that we begin believing that someone else has to tell us that we are ready before we even trust ourselves. A teacher, a boss, an algorithm, society. We spend years waiting for someone to actually switch the green light on and forgetting that actually at some point we are supposed to become the one holding the switch. And perfectionism doesn't help. Perfectionism isn't high standard. Instead, it is often a emotional defense mechanism. Because if everything is perfect, maybe nobody can judge us, except perfection doesn't create progress, it delays it. It is fancy procrastination. And my beloved mama sir always say, perfect is only a song. Listen to it and enjoy. Rest perfect इंसान मरने के बाद ही होता है. And one idea keeps coming back whether I read psychology, Stoic philosophy, or the Bhagavad Gita. They all seem to point towards something very similar. In the Gita, Krishna doesn't tell Arjun, come back when you stop doubting yourself. Or he doesn't say, wait until you are fearless. He meets Arjun exactly where he is: confused, emotional, afraid, and then only he reminds him of his dharma, his responsibility, his purpose, and asks him to act anyway. That has stayed with me because maybe courage was not about eliminating fear. Instead, courage is deciding that your purpose deserves a voice, even while fear is sitting right beside you. I think we have misunderstood humility as well. Humility was never meant to become something invisible. It was never meant to mean apologizing for taking up space. Real humility is knowing that you'll never know everything while still having the courage to contribute what you do know. And there is a huge difference. So, if you have been waiting for another degree, another certificate, another thousand followers, another sign from the universe, another perfect plan, maybe this is the reminder you needed, not because you're finally ready, but because nobody actually ever feels completely ready. The people we admire usually weren't fearless, they were simply ready to begin before certainty arrived. True confidence isn't knowing that you're going to get it right in the very first place. It is looking at your fears right into the eye, holding them with compassion, and deciding to move anyway. Not because you're trying to prove your worth, but because your worth was never waiting for permission in the very first place. So, here's the question I want to leave you guys with. What part of your life are you still waiting for permission to begin? Is it your business, your career, your writing, your healing, your goals, your dreams? I genuinely love to know. Leave it in the comments. Maybe we'll make sense of it together. Until the next reflection, take care.